How's it going, everyone? I am finally back to making content. I will explain where I've been during this intro. If you don't have any interest in seeing that, timestamp below. You can skip ahead to all of the ranked stuff, all the deck lists, all that stuff you're really here for. But where have I been? So after vacation, I went on a vacation beginning of June, came back, had some, the personal life things going on. Nothing really that serious, but at the end of the day, when I came home from work, I really didn't have any interest in playing ranked, trying to earn my top 1000 spot back since I was already a week behind, and really just didn't want to make anything on the set since I wasn't playing the game. I honestly just was not playing Pokemon Pocket for the month. And then for EV Grove, I was planning on being there right on day one. I had a medical test I had to get done, which I suffered a slight complication. Nothing serious. It just kept me from eating for a few days, which resulted in me having absolutely no energy. I did not want to sit here and try to make a video. I just had nothing to me. Just 0 calories going in, gave me 0 energy, as you can imagine. But everything is good news. No worries. No reason to worry about old Tilly here. Got my answer for what was going on, and it is something that can be managed. It was just we needed to find what it was in order to manage it. So things are looking up. I'm very excited to be back to making content. And if you guys are excited to see more videos from me, on this video specifically, I would really appreciate if you dropped a like and a comment on it. If you guys aren't aware, taking any sort of break on YouTube is pretty detrimental to how YouTube reacts to new videos going out, whether they push in the algorithm or not. So there could only be 100 of you here right now, which is totally fine. It's what happens when you take a break. But either way, I really appreciate you guys' support and anyone who's still here after that month-long almost hiatus I went on. All right, so over the weekend, we had some major tournaments. And when I looked at EV Grove, I thought this set is so mid. And I was kind of right. The set overall, mid. There's only 2 good cards that came out of it, which were the 2 cards I was looking at. Flareon seemed interesting, and Sylveon seemed interesting. Sylveon is a lot more powerful than I gave it credit for when I first looked at it. Flareon is about the power level I expected, but we're going to take a look at the results from these big tournaments. I really only feel that there are 3 tournaments worth taking a look at, and those are the ones that were around 300 players. So we're going to look at the Magma tournament, we're going to look at the Froggy X tournament, and of course the Ursa Day. And then I'm also going to show you some lists over from Twitter where people post their, like the high rank people, top 10, top 100, whatever. They post a list that they've been working on, because those lists are usually so much different than tournament lists. Tournaments are so much different because they're open deck lists, blah, blah, blah. You have all these secrets. Ranked lists are sometimes just a little bit more teched out because the meta is more diverse. You're going to hit more decks than you would in tournament on a tournament run. So it's often worth putting in matchup specific text that you otherwise would ignore during a tournament. So we've got to look at the big bad deck of this format that it seems is going to sort of dominate. And I could see this card being very impactful throughout, as in people are going to find new ways to work it into decks that we haven't really thought of because the ability is so strong. And that's Sylveon EX. Sylveon is going to draw you 2 cards whenever you evolve it, and that pairs really well with Greninja. You are able to get a Greninja online so fast. You're fine with using the deck space here to throw the Sylveons in here because Greninja is so strong, you're fine with putting the Sylveon in and cutting out some of the other cards, because like all you need with a Greninja and a Giratina are your Cyruses. The other cards are kind of there to help you survive longer in the game. Think like Irida. Like an Irida in this deck would just be to help you survive longer until you find that Cyrus. Maybe in some other matchups it would be important, but for the most part, since you're able to go Sylveon into a very fast Greninja and then Cyrus whatever you want, survive Mars if you leave an Eevee on the bench and you leave the other Sylveon in the deck, like you're able to just churn through your deck, have that Cyrus online whenever you want, take out whatever threat is on your opponent's side of the board. It is a very consistent deck and is super scary. Like the only thing that slows this deck down is getting Giratina set up. When I play it, I personally like to go Water Psychic because I always love having the option of attacking with Greninja in my deck. I could see a solo Psychic build just to get the Giratina online even faster and just kind of go Giratina, Cyrus, Greninja. But I like having the option of the Greninja in there. You only play the one Giratina, so if you don't find him turn one, it'll get a little bit, concerning as to who your attackers are. You don't really want to just be swinging with Sylveons. It's nice to get the Greninja in there as well. But yeah, I mean, it's super standard list, right? I like having the double Cyrus. I was seeing some list earlier on in the format, as in, 3 days ago as opposed to yesterday or today, which only ran one Cyrus. I'm telling you, I've been playing Greninja for too long. I've been playing Greninja since the very beginning. It is probably my most played card in Pokemon Pocket. Not having two Cyrus in a Greninja deck is trolling. It is not, we're not running two Cyrus because, we want to be able to find that Cyrus as soon as we want it. No, dude, you want to be using those Cyruses all the time. You want to use Cyrus for defensive plays. You want to use it for aggressive plays. Like, it is there to, you just want to use two Cyrus so often. I cannot imagine only playing one copy. I hate one copy Gus decks, in my opinion. I always want a double Cyrus or a one Cyrus, one Sabrina. I do not like to play the game without two of those effects. It's just probably, besides draw cards, the strongest supporter effect in the game, right? It is the strongest effect in Pokemon trading card game to begin with. Like, even the paper card game. Gust is that powerful. One giant cape, boost some damage, and a red card. I like having the red card. Lets you do some crazy things. You can go Sylveon, which is essentially a research, Cyrus, and red card in one turn. And it is as if you have used 3 supporters in one turn, and you've only used one because of Sylveon, Cyrus, and then red card as the item card. It is so broken. I love this deck. It is just really consistent. Allows you to play the game every single game. Just about, barring some very bad luck. And it has Greninja Cyrus shenanigans, which is my favorite way to play the game. So I love this deck. I'm happy to see it doing well. Not looking forward to all of the mirror matches on ladder. That seems like it's going to be so annoying. The mirror matches are always annoying for me. I don't know. They just are. They just are. Unless I got a specific card I can put in there for the mirror match to just make my time a little bit easier. I don't love playing mirror matches. Sometimes it really is just who drew better. Sometimes you got a really good game where you're like, I outplayed this guy. Has no idea how to play this deck. I just gamed on him. But it's not always the case. So that's Sylveon Greninja. Super powerful deck. Probably the most powerful deck. If you're trying to grind ranked, go with this one. Learn the mirror match first, though. Do not jump into it without knowing how to play against other Sylveon Greninjas. You will get punished so hard. Now we've got the Flareon decks. First, I'm going to show you the ones that have been doing well in tournament. And then the other versions, which I've not really seen in tournaments, but seems to be doing great on ranked ladder. So this is Flareon Turtonator, a pretty no-brainer inclusion or synergy here. Turtonator is going to discard fire energies while it's attacking, and then Flareon can just suck them back up with its combust ability. A version of Flareon that I also really liked and don't have a list to throw up here was Flareon Stuff. I felt like I was just dismantling people with it on the first day of ranked. Not sure how it's held up now. Haven't touched it since, but I really loved Flareon Stuff, and I'm honestly surprised to not see it as much in tournaments because I enjoyed the deck so much. But Turtonator, Flareon, it's super simple. Kiawe, Turtonator, get some swings in. Flareon. I have seen some Flareon lists going around. This is another thing I'm going to warn you guys against. I cannot imagine playing a Flareon deck without double EV bag. I don't know what swaps we're making, what card we value more than a second EV bag. 2 EV bag is so broken. When you use Combust for Flareon, because ideally what you want to do is use Combust one turn, get that Flareon set up, have 1 energy on it, and then save the attachment or when you have to use the other Combust for when the Flareon is attacking. When you use that first Combust, you want to use EV Bag, so your Flareon is not just a free Cyrus target for your opponent, right? It is your big hitter. It is your most important attacker in the deck. You do not want it to become free Cyrus bait by you not having the EV bag to heal that 20 damage off that Combust puts on the Flareon. So any Flareon decks going forward, I would say run double EV bag. I can't imagine doing it any other way. And I also cannot imagine not playing damage modifiers like red in these decks. Red plus EV bag, depending on how the game goes, red will get your Flareon EX up to 150. EV bag will get it up to 160, probably more likely than you going double EV bag and a red. That would be the most insane pop off ever, and I don't know what you're doing 170 damage to that you would want to do it that badly. But the red and EV bag super important. It helps you buff the Flareon's damage and get it up to those crucial damage numbers. So I say double EV bag and red in any Flareon deck, non-negotiable. Rest of the list, 2 Pokemon Center ladies. This is also a way to heal the Flareon after the Combust. Lets you hold on to those EV bags. Not bad. We have a lot of deck space because we are just 2 Turtonator, 2 EV, and 2 Flareon. You know, there's quite a lot of room here. I like the Sabrina. I like the Mars. Cyrus, you know, probably not needed, right? Like you're not really taking 2 shots anywhere. Yeah, it'll come up, but I think I would value like the damage modifiers and the healing over that to keep the Flareon safe and help Flareon reach those really big numbers. And of course, you need 2 Kiawe with Turtonator. These guys are non-negotiables. They have to be together in the package. So that list is pretty cool. Let me show you another really insane list. So here we have the only real EV box I can ever foresee existing, where we're playing multiple evolutions in the deck, because the other ones that released during this set have just no synergy with each other because of the attack cost. And now in this deck, we are just playing fire energy. We rely on the Leafeon to get the grass energy for our other Leafeon, and then the Flareon we're going to be able to power up on the bench with its combustibility or just manual attachment. So Leafeon here, I love Leafeon. This has been one of my favorite cards. It just kind of got power crept out very quickly, but in this deck it is just a fantastic option to get going and to be a supplemental attacker with Flareon, as well as this other Leafeon, which is going to do 90 damage as well, just for 2 energy attachment. Be a single prize attacker. Like, nothing's going to get by you. There's no Oricorio shenanigans that are going to do anything to you. Then we have the Sylveon to help us draw cards, get into that 1 of red. Now, me personally, if I was playing this list, I could see cutting back on the double Leafeon here. I feel like most games, the tempo is kind of going to go Leafeon into a Flareon. That's just how I see it. Leafeon, this other Leafeon will come up at times, but I would honestly love to cut this Leafeon for maybe a Cyrus to help this Leafeon finish off something, or a Sabrina, something like that. There's a lot of evolutions in here and not a whole lot of trainer cards, which I feel like could be a little bit more powerful than having double Leafeon in this deck. But otherwise, really cool deck. I have loved Leafeon since it came out. It has been one of my favorite cards in the game. I love energy acceleration. Leafeon just kind of got power crept out. We haven't seen grass type decks like this be a thing for a while. Not since Space Time Smackdown, really, when you could play like a Leafeon Yan Mega, and even that deck wasn't great at the time, but it was fun for the moment. Besides Buzzwole is its own grass deck. That's not even a grass deck. That's an Ultra Beast deck. I don't count that as a true grass deck. Doesn't have a lot of synergy with any of the other grass types that have been printed. Just has synergy with the Ultra Beast. But again, this deck is super cool, man. You have all this energy acceleration going on. And when you have all this energy acceleration going on, it allows you to make some stupid plays. I've played quite a bit of Flareon. It's definitely my most played deck in this format. And just the way you're able to retreat an energy off that you need for Flareon, get into the Flareon, use its ability, get it powered up. Like, you're just able to do some really cool stuff to manage your energy, and then after you've managed your energy, get rewarded for it by those retreats, getting rid of the right energies, allowing Flareon to be powered up. It's just really cool. I love the built-in energy acceleration, and having the energy acceleration from the energy zone and from the discard pile is super sick. And getting to actually play with like 4 basics as if this was the real TCG is awesome as well. We have all these EV options to get into these decks, like, or to get into these Leafeons and Flareons. It's just super sick. It's so cool. I really like it. And and the Sylveon here is the draw engine as well, like helping you get the other cards, but it is just a very, very cool deck. This is one I would absolutely take to ranked. It's a great deck, and it is a lot of fun. Like, this is going to be one of the only moments in Pokemon Pocket where you're going to be able to play 4 basics for 1 evolution card. So I would take advantage of it. Go give it a try while you still can. You will have a great time. So earlier in the video, when I said that Sylveon was going to, you know, break open some other decks, I don't think we've seen all that Sylveon has to offer. This is sort of what I meant. So this is an old deck, Greninja Oricorio. Now, this is apparently the #1 ranked EU players list. And they are playing Greninja Oricorio with a 1/1 Sylveon teched into here for some more consistency. Now, I've played a lot of Greninja Oricorio. Granted, I've probably not played as much in this format as this person has, but what I will say is no double Cyrus, double hand disruption. I'm going to be honest. I played a lot of Greninja Oricorio. Not a lot of my games were won with a hand disruption. Now, it is a little bit different now that we are playing in a format where, what is it? Sorry. Greninja Sylveon is a huge thing. A lot of draw, a lot of, hand size is getting pretty massive, but I think I would rather dump a red card or a Mars for a second Cyrus. And that's about the only change I would want to make. You really just want double Cyrus in Greninja decks, in my opinion. I would not love playing with just the one. Otherwise, very, very cool. Greninja Oricorio. Oricorio has not been that strong for a bit now. It really was not a great deck to play last format. Just a lot of Silvally around, which really weakens Oricorio's power. Oricorio doesn't even block that many decks anymore. Not very well. You know, you're not going to get very many free wins out here just by having the double Oricorio and getting them both online and your opponent kind of saying, all right, that's it for me. I'm playing a Charizard Incineroar deck. I'm out. Sorry. You got it. You got it. There's not that much going around, so the deck is cool. I'm not certain how much I love Oricorio anymore. Other than that, it would also be less consistent into other Sylveon Greninjas because they have the double Sylveon. They will be able to, because ultimately what this matchup is going to come down to is whose Giratina gets knocked out by the other Giratina first. And because that's going to be your big attacker. Now, you will have the Oricorio to put on a little bit of pressure. Make it so they can attack with the Sylveon, but, you know, Oricorio is going to get handled by a Greninja, which they're going to have no problem getting into. And you might just run into the circumstance where their Giratina is able to get online, or they're able to just find their Cyrus all that easier because they're playing the double Sylveon package. So maybe that's why the double hand disruption is here, but they play hand disruption of their own in most lists. So I don't love Oricorio right now, and I'm the biggest Oricorio believer. It was like all I played 2 formats ago was Greninja Oricorio. That was my baby. And I don't love Oricorio for right now. But it's a very, very interesting deck. It seems to be doing well for, you know, someone who's playing the game a lot more than me. So maybe they're correct. Maybe they're seeing something I'm not seeing. But I got a bad feeling if I was to queue up with Oricorio. I feel like this would not go great for me. Let's take a look at more Sylveon stuff. Sylveon is just here to boost consistency on a lot of these Stage 2 decks. We have an Incineroar, Sylveon. Not a lot to talk about. Just wanted to throw it out there for you. I've also seen a very similar list, which is just with Charizard instead. And of course, you're not going to run the How, which boosts Incineroar's damage by 30. You are going to run maybe a Red, maybe a Guzma, something like that to fix up Charizard's damage numbers. It's fire only in this deck. You don't want to play Psychic. You really don't want to be attacking with Sylveon. You just want to be attacking with Incineroar. And it's just here to boost consistency, right? Help you get into that Stage 2. Now, these Stage 2 decks aren't really what they used to be, where if you get into the Stage 2, it's just kind of GG's for your opponent. Not really the case anymore. We're not in a meta like that at this moment. But they are still very, very strong once you get them online. Incineroar and Charizard both are very, very powerful attackers. Obviously, that hasn't changed. And with the how, Incineroar is now able to reach for much, much higher damage numbers than it ever was. So that's a nice little bonus for it as well. Rest of the list, very standard. We're still rocking that red card to throw out at our opponent while we're trying to get our Incineroar set up. Yeah, super cool. We also have another similar-ish style deck, which is a MagneSylv Sylveon. And this is a deck where you can get away with playing Psychic Energy because, of course, Magneton is going to Volt Charge, get itself powered up. This will just help your MagneZones get online much, much quicker. That is really scary to deal with. 2 MagneZone is very, very tough to deal with. It's just the amount of HP it has is awkward for a lot of decks. It does a lot of damage. You are often trading you're both two-shotting each other. If you are another two-prize, or if you are a two-prize Pokemon and you're attacking in a MagneZone, you are probably trading 2 shots with it, and that is not favorable for you at all. So just having that Sylveon allow you to set up double MagneZone much, much, much more consistently than ever before is a really, really scary thing to deal with. And of course, the Sylveon will be there as another attacker, another thing your opponent has to get through. You can even go double MagneZone if the cards fall in your favor, double MagneZone into a Sylveon, and that's just so much HP to have to get through in one game. It is ridiculous. So this seems like a very, very powerful deck moving forward. I could even see some card getting dropped here for a one of Oricorio just to help. We got to talk about the meme deck that was obviously very pushed with this set. There were so many of these attackers, but I would wager, and as other people have seen by playing it to tournaments, this is the best way to play it. You want to ignore all the other sweets relay attacks on those Pokemon and just go with Slurpuff and Alchemy. You are able to now just play Water Energy, get value out of Irida to heal up these Pokemon. It is fairly powerful. It reminds me of a slightly weaker Silvally Rampardos. So Slurpuff is going to be able to, if you go second, you will be able to use Sweet's Relay for 10 damage, and then the next turn you will be able to evolve into Slurpuff and use it for a much, much more powerful attack. It's going to dish a lot of damage out in 2 turns. Much like Silvally, you don't have Gladion, and your secondary attacker is going to be completely dependent on how many times you were able to use that Sweets attack to boost the damage. Now, if you are able to use it 4 times, your Alchemy is going to be hitting for 160 damage every attack. That's a lot. That's going to be taking out most things in the format. So if your opponent is a little bit slow, even if you don't get Slurpuff online and you're just able to keep using Swirlix's attack, get that Alchemy ready to do a ton of damage. If you're able to set up both of them and you're just going 160, 160, you're gonna chew through your opponent. So it is a very, very fun looking deck. I don't think it's amazing. It does not, I don't see anything here that makes it better than just like Silvally Rampardos or any other type of Silvally deck, because it is just a little bit less consistent and you need to continually attack to get that explosive turn. Silvally Rampardos is a deck where you can attach once to your type null, evolve it into a Silvally, and if you just have the Rampardos to completely shut down whatever your opponent is prepping in the active spot, you go for it. You have that big explosive potential at any point in the game. You don't have to wait for multiple attacks from Swirlix, Slurpuff, or Milcery. I don't know how to say. I've never said that Pokemon's name out loud because it is nothing. It is a splash of milk. It's literally nothing. You don't have to depend on continually attacking throughout the game to get that big pop off. So I think it's funny. I think it's fun. You will have a good time playing it, but nothing screams better than Silvally here to me. Speaking of Silvally, seems to be the only way to play Primarina. Silvally Primarina. Primarina is a really cool card. I'm sad that it's not just slightly better. I don't know what could have made it better. Maybe the third attack doing a little bit more damage, because we are kind of capped out, and being a stage 2 that has no one-shot reach potential on really anything is quite unfortunate. It's just like your stage 2, you know, you're just going to be trading 2-shots with everything, and you don't even do that much damage to like secure a 2-shot. If your opponent has some sort of heal or damage fixer or something like that. So Primarina is unfortunately just kind of whatever. Like even this, I wouldn't say it's the best Sylveon deck in the world. There are plenty of other better Sylveon variants, but if you've got some Primarina laying around and you really want to play the deck, this seems to be the way to do it. I've seen Primarina Greninja. I wouldn't do that. That's double stage 2s. That's never gonna work out for you across multiple ranked games. It's too pop-off reliant to get that going on. I really can't put my head to think of anything better than Primarina Sylveon. It just seems to be an okay card that is cool. You know, it essentially has 3 attacks because Hydro Pump, you're going to do 40. You attach again, it's going to do 80. Then you get to do 100 with its final attack. But unfortunately, just none of those attacks are really all that strong. So that's it. That's it for the Sylveon Primarina deck. Go give it a try if you really want Primarina to work. You notice they're not even playing How in here because the 30 extra damage on Primarina is not even that important. Like, dude, if this third attack had just done 120 instead and we were able to reach for 150, I could see it having some merit, but just without that reach potential, it's just not enough. I hope you guys are ready for the most swag money deck you've ever seen in your life. Gengar Shiinotic with a Dusknoir in it as well. Dude, whoever made this is my hero. I remember we made a Gengar Dusknoir deck a long time ago. And if you guys don't know, because Dusknoir never really saw any play, the way Dusknoir works is it will take all of the damage off of a Pokemon no matter how much HP Dusknoir has left on it. I think I had a TikTok or a YouTube short at some point where my Dusknoir had 20 HP and I literally healed like 150 damage from Gengar onto the Dusknoir. It was crazy. The Dusknoir is such a cool card, and I'm sad to see that it hasn't gotten more play. I think primarily because it is a stage 2, which its effect is so strong it has to be a stage 2, but with no great way to get those stage 2s out, it's pretty hard. But this deck is sick, man. Double Gengar, the Dusknoir, and then the Shiinotic to just go find everything. The Lily to fix those damage numbers up. You think if Gengar gets hit for 150, you would love to just heal that little bit off, let Dusknoir survive, and be able to do it again the next turn. So you use that Lily, let Dusknoir take off the remaining HP, and then Dusknoir's on the bench still, ready to go, ready to take another bit of damage from Gengar. All the while, you're shutting down your opponent's supporter cards. Dude, this deck is so sick. Gengar EX, I hope this is your time. It did very well at a large tournament. So it does have the potential. It has the potential. With this Shiinotic engine, finding all of your Pokemon, it has the potential. I really like this deck. I think it is insanely cool. Supporter Denial only gets stronger every set because we just get more powerful supporters every set. So being able to shut those off just continues to get stronger and stronger. I really love this deck. The Gengar EX also prevents, you take that damage from Dusknoir. They are now no longer able to Cyrus up that Dusknoir, trap it, try to do whatever they want through bench damage, manipulation, whatever. It's such a great combo. Insanely cool deck. Probably the coolest deck I've seen so far out of this format. So those are all the new decks I've seen coming out of this format. Tomorrow, I'll be doing a video on all of the old decks. How have they been updated? How are they doing in the meta still? Thank you guys so much for watching. Glad to be back. Miss doing this quite a bit. I miss yapping in front of the camera. So thank you guys for giving me an outlet to do that. I truly appreciate it. All right. Have a good one. I'll see you on the next one.